Oh, Emi Martinez. Oh, Emi Martinez. World Cup winner. First ever player to win the World Cup that plays for Aston Villa. How good does that sound?
Unbelievable.
No, and it's not a squad player. It's not someone who's just racked up a couple of minutes here and there. He's been at the forefront of the whole thing and kept them in it. That is the thing as well. The saves, the penalty saves. Oh, we'll get into it. We'll get into it. Villa fans, get involved in the comment section down below. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. If you want to get 10% off at Classic Football shirts, you can use the code UTV Podcast. I can't believe that game that we've just watched, but I think we best talk about the main man to start with. You know, I had high hopes from coming into this tournament. As you would be aware if you watched the preview, Golden Glove, I've gone for Emi Martinez. I think I saw it coming. Because we saw Copa America, how great he was, how it galvanised the whole country, how they were all in it together. I just had a vibe that they were going to go strong in this tournament. And he's pulled off some remarkable saves. It's been... I mean, that last save at the very end of the game, the kid was clean through. He's volleyed it. And Martinez has stuck out his leg and took him to pens. It's class, man. Justin, talk to me about Martinez.
I'm still in shock about the game. I just can't believe it. You know, it was literally incredible. Incredible. I mean, we signed Martinez from Arsenal. He gets like a bit of a run in the Arsenal team. Didn't know a lot about him. Had a really good run. Won the FA Cup. Comes to Villa, and he's been brilliant for us from the minute he walked through.
The first game,
yeah,
was it Sheffield United? The pen save.
Yeah. Wouldn't save the pen.
From that moment, the trajectory of how dominant he's been from that moment has just gone sky high.
I mean, he must be able to chart back, obviously, to when he signed for Villa, and his career's just gone like that, and now it's just gone like that. It's just incredible. He's a phenomenal goalkeeper. Yes, he's got flaws, but every keeper has got small flaws. But when it comes to the big moments in games, you know, he very, very rarely lets you down, doesn't he? And like you said, that huge... I mean, forget the run-up to get to the final. So he's, you know, saving penalties in other games to get him to this position. But that save, with the dying seconds of injury time, when the ball gets lifted over the top, let's not forget, I know we'll get into the game, but they've gone ahead 2-0, they've been dragged back. They've then gone ahead 3-2 and been dragged back. Yeah, the mentality to keep switched on when all the players around him are thinking, I can't believe this. We've led twice in this game. We're back. And that split-second moment when the lad's clean through, and I'm thinking, this is a goal. And Martinez saves that. And then they nearly went up the other end through that and scored, didn't they?
Yeah.
Albeit for a better header, they could have won it from the break, from that save. And then as soon as he gets to penalties, I never doubted him. I just never doubted him. He's got, I don't know what it is. He's just got something about him in penalty shootouts he's got magic. He's got magic. I know he's a bit of a wind-up merchant.
Well, I've never really seen a keeper do this, I don't think. I don't know whether it's because I watch you know when he does that little thing with his feet?
Yeah, like a little
he's tapping his feet like this, and then he goes boom, and he's gone. And the mind games, if you're an opposing fan, you would hate what he does. But, you know, do you see the one when he threw the ball away?
Yeah, I think if you're not a fan of his or Argentina, you're going to say, oh, you know, it's bad sportsmanship. But I think what it is in those key moments, it's getting that. If you've just got to somehow get into the opposition player's head. Now, if that's a stare or if that's a little bit of, I don't know what it is, but just chucking the ball 5 yards. I mean, he didn't throw it out of the stadium. He just threw it over his head and it landed a couple of yards behind him, which made the player have to turn around, go and fetch the ball, come back. And that was enough just to put the lad off. And that's all you need. You need those marginal gains in those key moments. And he's just got him down to a T. Absolutely down to a T. I think he's a bit nuts in the head as well. I think all goalkeepers are, to be honest. I think they used to say, you have to be a little bit mad to play in goal.
Yeah, he's fantastic. Villa fans, there's a lot of you watching, so if you can all hit a like and subscribe on the channel if you are new. So let's just talk about the game a little bit because it was...
We've got 3 hours.
Well, I mean, started off, it was just complete steamroller mode from Argentina for that first half. They were fantastic, weren't they? They were playing with so much freedom. They were able to just knock it around and pass it about and sort of just play like not within themselves, but just how they wanted to play. And it was really disappointing from France. And they made the 2 changes before half time, and I thought the game was done and dusted.
Yeah.
Did you?
Yeah. I agree. I think before the game, I wanted Argentina to win, obviously, and I was trying to think how do they win this game now. And up until we played France, I thought France were going to just steamroll everyone. But I think we exposed that they're not quite as good as they probably think they are. Obviously, Mbappe is a different class. So I thought if Argentina could just start the game well and grow into it, because the first, say, 5 minutes, they were just sort of, not seeing each other out, weren't they? Just knocking the ball around. And then Argentina just kept getting better and better and better. And Messi was getting into the game. I thought Di Maria was phenomenal. Yeah, absolutely phenomenal on that left-hand side.
He rolled back the ears, didn't he?
Absolutely, yeah. I thought...
he had that one kid on toast, didn't he? That was
Alvarez up front just does not stop running, does he? And with it, and the 3 midfield, I think McAllister, he ain't going to be at Brighton long, is he? He's a phenomenon. Fernandez, the young kid that won Young Player of the Tournament, and De Paul, those 3 were outstanding. The back 4, great. Martinez I think he touched the ball twice and he just had to kick it out, pass it back. It was just great. I mean, they're saying that a lot of the French team were ill and, they weren't very well. That's fair enough, that's got to be taken into to account, hasn't it? It's got to be part of the conversation. But ultimately, for me, it was how good Argentina were, especially in that first half. They utterly dominated. That the back 4 just shut them down. The front 4 of France didn't have a kick. The midfield dominated, and then going forward, they had the 2 best attackers in the first half on the pitch in Messi and Di Maria. And it looked like it was just going to be steamroller the whole game. But fair play to Deschamps, making them 2 substitutions in a World Cup final after 40 minutes, dragging off arguably 2 of your best players of the tournament. Takes some balls doing that. I mean, Giroud wasn't happy. You could see that. He threw his bottle down and he had a bit of a moan. But I think the 2 lads that came on did really well. And in fact, I think all of the French substitutions improved them every time they put subs on, to the point when they actually started to gain a bit more control of the game, which was the sort of last 20 minutes.
Yeah. Andy Dainty, I mean, if anybody's watched a lot of our World Cup content, my player of the tournament, and this is going to be a little bit left field, is De Paul. He was fantastic for Argentina in every single game. I think he was the best central midfielder in the tournament by a mile. He was that good for me. Every time I watched him, I just thought he was class. He was so good. And yeah, Mbappe starts to have that glint in his eye, doesn't he? And we all know Mbappe's class, but this tournament he's been world class as well. And I think we spoke about it going into the tournament that when you're watching these players, the big players, you want them to turn up. And
Yeah.
Mbappe, Messi, they proper turned up to this tournament. And that finish, was it the second goal, the volley?
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah.
that finish, on the
Ridiculous.
volley, in that moment, to even get it on target would have been brilliant. But to stick it away and then to get it to 2-2, and you're thinking, here we go, they're going to nick it at the end, but it just turned into a mammoth game at that point, didn't it?
Yeah. I think the turning point actually was when he took Di Maria off. I thought they lost control of the game at that point, and it just gave the French that little bit more hope, I think, of trying to nick something out of the game. And then they get the penalty. I mean, that goal was amazing, that Mbappe goal, that volley. But 3 penalties in normal time, if you like, all right, including extra time, but 3 penalties in a World Cup final, and Messi or Mbappe didn't look like missing any of them, did they? Now, the pressure on all 3 of them penalties.
Yeah.
So Messi takes the first to put him into the lead. He's never scored in the World Cup final, so that's huge on him. He literally rolled it in like he was on Sunday Park with his kids. And Mbappe, with whatever it was, 10, 15 minutes to go, knows that if he doesn't score that penalty, they are done. So that's the turning point, and he scores it against arguably one of the best penalty savers in the world, and he did get a hand on that as well.
Yeah.
And then Argentina just switched off for 10 minutes, didn't they? And phenomenal play as well. The little 1-2 between Mbappe, whoever it was that edged it back to him. But to hit that ball in the volley, and they looked like the team that was going to go on and win it then, didn't they? You just thought, all you could see was Argentina crumbling. And I think it was they had to try and somehow get to, which they did, try somehow to get to extra time. And I genuinely thought in extra time that it was just going to be backs against the wall for Argentina. I think they're just going to try and get through to penalties and somehow win on penalties. And then they seem to, I think the substitutions impacted Argentina then as well. I thought they put Leandro Martinez up front.
Yeah.
And that Paredes come on, I think, as well.
He had a poor World Cup.
Yeah, but I thought they impacted the game when they came on today. And it sort of wrestled that bit of confidence away from France in extra time. And then Messi goes and scores again, which with another 10 minutes to go. And you're thinking, okay, just hold out now. You've been here before. You've let a lead slip. You've got ahead again. There's less time left now than there was in normal time. And then they go and give a penalty away with 5 minutes to go. And then after that, you had that Martinez save, and then the chance at the other end. You couldn't, if you sat down and used a script writer and you said, write me a script for a World Cup final where the 2 best players are integral to everything that happens in the game, and you have drama, you have a penalty, you have penalties, you have comebacks, you have extra time, you probably couldn't sit down and write that.
No.
It's just incredible, absolutely incredible.
And then we can't not talk about a certain person. Justin's a massive Messi fan. I'm a massive Messi fan. I don't get embroiled in the rivalry between the 2 players. Personally, I just feel like they've both been brilliant, and just embrace both of them. I don't really think there should be a debate on who is the best, because they're both good. Do you know what I mean? But for me, I do prefer Messi. And to cap that career off with that World Cup win, and like I spoke about Martinez at the start, saying he wasn't just there to make up the numbers, he wasn't a bit part player. There was times in this World Cup where Messi dragged that team through to the next round. He dragged them through matches. Some of the goals that he scored, he's been sublime this World Cup. And the quality that he's shown, the goals, I was just so happy. I've just always felt like there needed to be pictures and videos of Messi lifting that trophy. Justin, I know you're a massive fan.
I just count myself lucky to have seen his entire career from the day he made his debut for Barcelona and chipped over the goalkeeper to score his first ever goal. I followed his career throughout, and I think I'm a bit like Gary Lineker always says it, and I totally agree with him. I didn't think I'd ever see a better player than Diego Maradona in my lifetime. And for me, he's just the best player, in my opinion. I used to get into arguments with people, Ronaldo, Maradona, Pele. I think it's irrelevant because it's who moves you in football. That's what football's all about. It's about emotion, isn't it? And for me, watching Messi all of his career, he's brought me to such highs. I've seen things that he's done that I've never seen done before. The numbers he's put down, the things he's won, and it's not just that; it's the way he carries himself on the pitch. You never see him lose his rag. Very, very rarely lose his rag. You never see him. You know, he'll give a player a penalty, even if he's on a hat trick. If somebody's struggling, I know when Neymar was at Barca, he was struggling for goals at one point, and he was on a hat trick Messi, and he just handed him the ball. There you go, have a goal, get your confidence going. Let's get the team going. And the whole package for me, with what he brings as an ambassador for the game of football as a whole, it's unsurpassed, absolutely unsurpassed. And I know people you say, you know, unless he does it abroad, a different country, unless he wins a World Cup. I said this morning, regardless of whether he wins it today or not, in my opinion, he'll still be the best player that's ever played the game. And I think just doing this today, what he's done, adding the World Cup to his ridiculous list of achievements, it just strengthens my argument. And you know, I won't get into arguments with people anymore because you know, what's the point in arguing with someone that likes Ronaldo and won't have anything bad said about him? That's fine, absolutely fine. For me, for what he's done, for who he is, how he carries himself, he's unsurpassed for me. If I see a better player than Lionel Messi in my lifetime, then Jesus Christ, they're going to be some player.
I think we should talk about one player that came on for France today that has been heavily linked with Aston Villa, and he's at the top of my wish list. Is Marcus Thuram, because I think when he came on today as well, he changed the game a little bit for France. I think he's looked really, really decent the couple of times I've seen him, but especially in this game, you know, you got to see the strength of him and everything like that. So I think he had a really decent game today as well. So for me, he's one who I think we need to go out and try and sign.
Yeah, I didn't know a lot about him before this tournament, and obviously we were linked with him, and you obviously then you take a little bit more notice of these players when they get linked to your clubs. And I think in not the semi-final or the game before that, I think he came on, and I thought, oh, you know, he looks all right. He looks all right. I looked at his numbers; they're not phenomenal numbers, like scoring wise and everything. But the last two games he's coming on in the semi-final and the final, I thought he was excellent. You know, to come on it when he did today in a game that was basically ebbing away from it already after 40 minutes and have an impact. He looks a very, very good player, really good player. And I think where we are now currently, I think we could do a lot worse if we need a forward, if we're going to go after a forward, than signing him, to be honest, because he does look a really good player.
Yeah, he does. So we've covered the World Cup. We've done watch-alongs, England, everything like that. It's been really, really good. And I thoroughly have enjoyed this World Cup. And I would say, quality-wise, football-wise, it's probably up there with one of the best for me. I think it's had everything. It's had shocks. It's had big players stepping up. It's had, I mean, that game we watched, watch one on the watch along, Argentina, Netherlands. You know, Argentina 2-0 up, cruising. Yeah. 10 minutes to go, 2-2. The free kick to get it to 2-2. That game was class. You know, there were so many different games that had so many different things going. There was big teams that went out. There was surprise nations getting to sort of the back end of the tournament. I've absolutely loved it. And I think the good thing, and I don't want them to have it in winter ever again, but the good thing about it has been all the players are in prime shape, which I think you've seen a bit of a different vibe to a World Cup. What have you made of it as a whole?
I agree. You know, take out the political side of things. You know, none of us were happy with it going there, and that was a big cloud over the tournament at the start. And I wish it hadn't have gone there. But on the pitch, footballing wise, off the top of my head, and over the next few days and weeks, it will be assessed as a whole now it's finished. Off the top of my head, apart from Italia 90, which was my all-time favourite World Cup, it is definitely up there with one of the best World Cups I've ever seen. Goals, shocks, fantastic play, brilliant players. I mean, the players that are coming towards the end of the career in this tournament that this tournament's probably seen the end of. You won't see in the finals again. Lewandowski, Messi, Modric, Di Maria, Ronaldo. These players, most of them were really good in this World Cup. It is fantastic. I do agree it's helped.
Do you know what I mean? Agree. Across the board.
Yeah. But I do agree that I think
like Japan, Saudi Arabia. Yeah.
You mean you always get the some minnows that do really well, but I think this has given the lesser nations, if you like, that qualify for World Cups, the hope that they can do things in future World Cups. Morocco getting to the semi-final, first African nation ever to get that far, and I do think it's helped that it has been a Winter World Cup, to be honest, because I think it's allowed players to go into the tournament not washed out at the end of a season, not knackered, and not we've got a whole season behind us. So I think timing wise, it's helped the quality a bit, but I wouldn't want to see another one if I'm totally honest in the winter.
Because then for all the fun and enjoyment that we've had to miss out on Aston Villa, haven't we?
Yeah.
I just love Villa. Do you know what I mean? I love watching them. I love going down, and we've sort of had a month off now, and then we're back Boxing Day, New Year, and then it's like boom, season starts again. So,
I'll tell you what would be incredible, and I don't think this will happen because I think he'll be in Argentina for about the next 3 weeks, getting drunk and enjoying it. And fair play to him, he deserves it. You imagine if Emi Martinez is there on Boxing Day playing against Liverpool. Imagine the roof would literally come off that stadium, wouldn't it? So the first game back for Villa will be incredible. I can't wait to see him back in a Villa shirt again.
I mean, we've spoke about this a few times when we feel like that would be. If I'm being brutally honest, I think middle of Jan.
I think so. I think it'll be interesting next few days. They're going to go back to Argentina. They're going to celebrate. They're going to be wanting, they're probably going to want at least probably a couple of weeks off, I would think, to recover and recuperate and get over it and celebrate. And I think it would be unfair to drag him back any sooner, because how often do you ever win a World Cup? Yeah. Once in a lifetime, isn't it, for most? If you're very, very, very lucky. So I think we're going to have to do without him. I think, looking at the fixtures, is there an outside chance he could make his comeback against Wolves? 4th of Jan, is that too soon? Because that's 2.5 weeks away from now. So Wolves under the floodlights. Now that would be a great game to come back in, wouldn't it?
Yeah. What, bringing that trophy out with him as well?
Yeah, bring the World Cup out. Bring Messi with you and bring the trophy with you. I know a lot of people are talking about, what does this do? Want us to talk about what does this do for him as a Villa player?
No, do you know what? I don't think it changes anything, because
all it does is it just increases the spotlight and the, if a top European club is after a keeper now, he's going to be in the conversation. I don't think you can deny that now. But the money he would demand.
I'd have expected him to be in that anyway because of what he did at
the would, but winning the Golden Glove at the World Cup, and a lot of the top clubs in Europe would look at Villa like, we're bigger than Brighton. What I'm trying to say by this is people will look at Alexis McAllister now and say, he's only at Brighton. We can get him from there. And I think the top clubs in Europe, your Real Madrid, your Barcelona's, your PSGs, they will look at Villa because we're not a Champions League club and go, we can get Martinez from Villa because, we are that top bracket of club. I'll pray he hangs around for a long time.
I mean, that deal, 2027.
Yeah.
I mean, the years on that type of contract is around 65 to even enter a negotiation, isn't it?
For me, it's 80 million plus.
Yeah, that's what I think.
I genuinely think that he's in the top bracket of world keepers now. He has, and he's proven it now. He's not just done it at World Cup. He's won 2 major honours now with Argentina in 12, just a little over 18 months, and
Yeah,
he's been probably him and Messi are the reason they've won the World Cup.
yeah.
Let's not beat around the bush.
I mean, how much did
Messi's the
that Pepper go for?
Kepa was 67 million, I think.
I
But
mean,
you know, to be where he is, and to be as you know, he's going to be lauded over now for the next few weeks and months, and talked about by everybody. I hope he sticks around for a long, long time. But we know what football is, and we know what happens in football. And I hope he stays loyal to us. I'm sure he does. I know he loves playing for Villa. I know he loves the fans. He loves the area. He loves where he lives. He loves the players he's playing with, and we're on a journey with the Villa, aren't we? And if it wasn't for Villa, he wouldn't have got the chance with Argentina. So, to a point, I hope there's a bit of loyalty there that sticks around. But we all know if this happens and this happens, if all the cards fell into into place, then there is a chance he could go maybe at the end of the season. But let's just enjoy him for what he is now. He's Villa's #1 keeper, and he's just won the World Cup. Phenomenal, absolutely over the moon for him.
I'd say it's going absolutely nowhere. That would be my vibe. So it's been.
I think the owners would. I think the owners would see it as a big coup now to keep hold of him, build the team around players like him. He's one of our most important players, without question, in the squad. So if we want to do anything over the next 2 or 3 years, now we've just got the manager we've got as well, Emery, and we're all hoping for a big January now as well. So we've got to have a big January to keep players like Martinez. It's imperative now. When you want to play with the big boys, you got to you're playing at the top of the game now. And Emi Martinez is one of the top. For me, he's in the top 5 goalkeepers in the world.
Yeah,
unquestionable. Arguably in the top 1 or 2. But unquestionably in the top 5 keepers in the world. So you wouldn't want to lose him now when we're just about hopefully to go on a really good run and break into that hopefully European places over the next couple of years.
Yeah. So we have covered the World Cup. We've tried to fill the void of Aston Villa on this channel, and it's gone down really, really well, to be fair. I mean, if I think back to, we did the England-France watch-along, 13,000 people watched that live stream, which was mental. So thanks everyone that's been watching the World Cup content. Obviously, it's not Villa, and we're a Villa fan channel, but you've all embraced it and watched it, and especially on the watch-alongs, we've got to know a lot of you in the chat as well. So I think that's been really nice as well. So I think that's been great. But the main stuff starts this week. Up the Villa podcasts, Aston Villa content is back with all of our normal concepts, plus a brand new concept coming this week as well. So that's going to be really good. So Justin, Villa are back on Boxing Day. How are you now feeling going past Boxing Day towards the end of the season?
Yeah, just before I say that, I'll echo what you said. Doing these watch-alongs and covering the World Cup, we sort of did a bit in the Euros, didn't we, last year? And we enjoyed doing bits and bobs, but this has been another level up. And doing the watch-alongs and the lives and having the sort of interaction we have with everybody has been absolutely fantastic. I've loved every minute of it. I think we've got a really lovely following now of people that jump in and have chats with each other. And I think it's become a really nice place to just come and chat football. And thank everybody for watching throughout, because I've enjoyed every minute of it. I thank Luke as well, because without him, none of this would be possible. So big up to Luke. On the Villa, can't wait. I think this has been a great sort of distraction from Villa, I suppose. If you can have a break from Villa, at least there's been football to enjoy. So we've enjoyed that. But the big stuff starts now, and I can't wait for it. I can't wait for it to start again. And now they've had a month away to really get to Emery to get into them all. So yeah, huge game to come back to, isn't it? Liverpool at home. It couldn't be a bigger game under the lights at Villa Park. Boxing Day, full house. everybody's stuffed full of turkey and goodwill and cheer. Hopefully, everyone be in good voice. If we could get off to a really blockbuster start to the restart and get a win against them after what happened just before we broke up for the World Cup, then I think we're in for a really, really exciting end to the season. And obviously, we've had a favourable draw in the FA Cup as well. So my hopes for the rest of the season are to cement at least a top half place and have a really good deep run into the FA Cup. That would be a dream now for us, I think. One or two real nice signings in January, I think, would be nice to give us a pep up. But overall, let's finish in the top half, push hopefully top 8, have a really good run in the FA Cup and just enjoy ourselves again now, because it was a really disappointing start to the season, wasn't it, under Gerrard? And we've been all through that now. We've got through it. Let's look forward and look upwards.
And I think this World Cup now sort of drew a line under what had gone before Emery arrived. And, Emery came in and got the 2 wins, didn't he? And it was brilliant. We've had this little break now. We've watched the pre-season, the games, and it's now exciting to see what we're all about now. What characteristics of this side got? How are we going to grow? Because I think we're far from the finished article under Emery, so there's going to be losses, but there's going to be more good than bad, I'd say. So I'm excited for that. Like you say, I'm excited for us. I think we're going to finish in the top half. I think we can get top 10. We're only 4 points off Liverpool in 6 visits. So I think the signs there that we can still get a good finish in the table. But the one thing that I'm really excited about is Emery's first signing. What has he looked at and thought, you know what, we got to change this. When that first one comes in, you're going to get a gist of where his head's at a little bit, I think. So I think that's going to be really exciting to see how he wants to evolve the squad, because he's looked at it, he's worked with it, he's working with what he can work with. But how does he progress us now into the finished article of what he wants us to be? Because we know that he can just rock up game by game. He's got a plan, he's got a vision, he's got a formation, he's got a style of play. But what's that little finished article going to look? I think that's, for me, what I'm looking forward to.
I think it's going to be like for like signings now. I think it's not going to be wholesale changes. I think, like you say, I think he'll just be analysing the first 11, and I think he'll be saying he'll know what his best first 11 is now, I think, and he'll just be looking and saying, who can I get in that will improve my first 11? And I think, it'd be very interesting to see the first signing that comes through the door, because it's not going to be a squad signing or a backup player. It's going to be somebody that comes in and goes, you're straight into the team. That, I think we're pretty set everywhere. If we didn't sign anyone to the end of the season, I still think we could finish in the top half.
Yeah.
I think the improvement under him and what he brings as a coach is just enough on its own to keep us in the top half. So any signings on top of that would just improve us, I think.
Yeah, and I just think from watching a couple of the games, the games, especially in this little break, the friendlies, the 2 things that I've came out with watching those 3 games is playing out from the back and the striker situation. They're the 2 areas that I've came out of that thinking, you know what, this is where it needs improvement. A lot of you are mentioning Pau Torres in the comment section. When he came on for Villarreal the other day, he looked brilliant. He was so calm. He was so relaxed on the ball. He was just popping off passes. That's the type of player I think we need at the back, who's just can play football, because we are going to be playing out from the back. So I think that for me, that's an area. And I
I
think
don't see us signing a defender in January.
no,
Only because Diego Carlos is coming back. I think he needs time to prove, what he's got, what he's all about. But I think going forward, you could see 2 or 3 of the squad playing centre halves leaving, can't you, by the end of the season? Like the likes of Chambers, sorry. 1 or 2 of the others. So there is the possibility at the end of the season you might want to improve the centre half positions. I think forward's the most likely, do you?
Yeah, I do. I think when I look at the team and I look at how we're trying to play, that's just the area that I feel like we're really struggling. I feel like
We need a hold up forward, don't we?
I feel like
Yeah.
we do well at times to get in a certain area. Like the ball will land at Watkins, and you're needing that bit of hold up, that bit of time to bring in Luca Dean, to bring in Buendia a little bit more. It breaks down the amount of times that Cash and especially Luca Dean on that left hand side, the amount of time he gets on that ball, and we don't put it in the box straight away. I just feel like we really lack someone aggressive that gets on the end of stuff, and that's what I feel like we really need. And when I watch Villa at the minute, I always just come away thinking if we had a striker there that was just more well-rounded, that could just stick the ball in the back of the net, that could get on the end of headers, that can play on the shoulder, that can come short. That's what I feel like we really need. A striker that can do all of that. And especially say, like, when we were seeing that, when we went to that 6 at the back away at Brighton, we probably do need someone that can hold the ball up, because if we are dug in and we're under pressure, someone that can relieve that pressure up front without the ball coming straight back to us. So I think for that certain scenario as well, we need someone like that. Do you honestly feel like a striker?
I think if you put a gun to my head and said what part of the pitch needs improving the most, I think the keeper's obviously sound. I think we've got enough players at the back now to easily be comfortable towards the end of the season. I think midfield wise, we're okay in there now. Obviously worrying losing Douglas Luiz, but we haven't. Kamara's come back to fitness now and looks good. McGinn has looked really good in this little mini break as well, playing that little bit further forward.
Yeah,
Got Ramsey to come back in. So I think midfield wise we're okay. Attacking midfield wise, Bailey's looked really good under Emery, hasn't he?
I think
Buendia's looked
Buendia needs
sharp.
a good end to the season.
Yep, he needs a run in the team and a bit of confidence. I don't think Coutinho will go in January, so he's got a chance to come back in and maybe have a bit of an impact. So the only position, realistically, I think that you would look to improve on is the forward line. I can see we was at the friendly the other night and we both got talking. And I think we can both see Archer going out on loan somewhere, which leaves 2 forwards. And I think if he could do a deal with, I know we were massively linked with Felix. That one looks a little bit less unlikely than the Thuram one. But if we could do a deal for a forward that he really likes, then I could see maybe them preparing to do a deal on letting Ings or Watkins go. That's realistically the only one I think that I could see us doing in January. Anything else, like a midfielder or a defender, then he's seen something in the players we've got that he just doesn't fancy. So, like we said earlier, that first sign would be very interesting to how he has looked at the squad and how he has decided, what needs improving on.
Definitely. Right, so we'll end it there then. Bit of an impromptu live stream from us, but that concludes our World Cup content. It's done and dusted. Back to the main event now of Aston Villa. So I can't wait to just get back into the swing of things and start just getting back to normal and doing what we normally do. So, we have got new concepts coming this week, so stay tuned for that. You'll be seeing a lot more content on the channel as well, because as you know, I left Tony and Guy, so yeah, more content is going to be coming. And just want to say thanks to everybody's support, because the channel has just grown so much. You know, we now past 10K subscribers. We got members now, so that's great as well. So we're looking to grow that. So yeah, just, you know, all of your support is huge, because without you guys, the interaction and just commenting and talking and everything like that, it's, you know, that's the best part about this channel for me, is that, you know, all of your guys.
Community, yeah.
So, you know, the fact that it's massive and it's so good and you all enjoy it, and, you know, it's just really, really good. So I just want to say cheers for all of that as well. So we'll be back in the week then, talking about the main stuff. Aston Villa. Up the Villa.
Up the Emi Martinez.
Legend.